Yes! Yes! Now that's what I'm talking about. High ingenuity and resourcefulness to make it through a sticky situation. Give her a few points for that. Welcome to Survivor Scale. I'm H2 Mass, and today I'm ranking every main character in Alien Romulus, the latest film in the Alien franchise, this time set 20 years after Alien and 37 years before Aliens. Instead of following a mining crew or a squad of Marines though, Alien Romulus details the story of a group of disillusioned young adults who no longer want to live under the iron grip of the still evil Weyland-Yutani corporation, so they devise a plan to move to a new world, only to find themselves in a battle for their lives when they run into the franchise's iconic creature. We start the film shortly after the events of Alien, as a Weyland-Yutani spacecraft searches through some debris and discovers that the xenomorph Ripley ejected from her escape pod has survived the vacuum of space by creating a sort of cocoon around itself, allowing dangerously curious scientists to risk the future of humanity for the sake of progress and money. We then meet Rain Carradine, a woman whose name implies some connection to nature, but who has sadly never even seen the sun, having lived her entire life on the dark Weyland-Yutani colony Jackson Star on LV-410, with clouds too opaque to see beyond the atmosphere, so she instead observes the sun in her dreams. Hey, I do the same thing with my girlfriend. Rain then grabs some food with her brother Andy, who seems more like a dad with his terrible jokes.
Maybe it's because I'm on this seafood diet. Seafood, I eat it.
The pair then move deeper into the colony, where Rain leaves Andy as she tries to end her work contract in hopes that she can immigrate to the much more desirable world Yavaga, but Weyland-Yutani's catastrophically capitalistic ass spontaneously decides to add another 6 years to her contract, now having her work in the mines, the same place that caused her parents to die. Suddenly though, Andy starts screaming for Rain, who runs over and sees her brother leaking Alfredo sauce, so she opens up part of his neck and winds him up like an old-fashioned children's toy. Oh, so he's an android. I thought they were biological siblings. After fixing her robot brother, Rain receives an invitation from her ex-boyfriend Tyler, who tells her about a decommissioned Weyland-Yutani space station with functional cryopods that will allow them to make the 9-year journey to Yavaga instead of wasting their lives working in dangerous mines for Weyland-Yutani, who will never let them leave anyway. Showing the effects of Tyler's persuasion, Rain reluctantly joins the team, which also includes Tyler's pregnant sister Kay, Kay's asshole cousin Bjorn, and Bjorn's adoptive sister Navarro, with Rain taking Andy along as well because, as a Weyland-Yutani synthetic, he has access to the station. After Navarro begins piloting the ship, Bjorn displays his poor caution in crippling carcinogen addiction by lighting a cigarette in space, only for Tyler to demonstrate the opposite when he passive-aggressively tells him not to.
What's a good idea now?
When the crew arrive at the station, Tyler, Andy, and Bjorn go inside to find the cryopods, but unfortunately discover that they don't have enough fuel to make it all the way to Yavaga, and while Bjorn displays both confusion and poor composure, having no idea what to do, Tyler adapts to the situation and sends the pods back to their ship before using a temp scanner to locate more cryofuel elsewhere on the station. As the trio walk to the cryo chamber though, Andy makes another bad dad joke, exposing the difference in compassion between Tyler and Bjorn. While Bjorn antagonizes Andy, harshly telling him that the planet they plan to reach doesn't allow synthetics and that he's glad he won't ever have to see him again, Tyler consoles Andy and calls him a good guy, saying that he'll miss him. Andy, however, doesn't seem to care about getting decommissioned once they arrive at Yavaga, despite Rain seeming to betray him.
That's okay. If it's what's best for Rain, it's what's best for me.
When they get to the cryo chamber, they begin removing some fuel canisters, only to unintentionally set off the lockdown procedures and get trapped inside with some Are those facehuggers? Oh no. With the guys unable to get out, Rain and Navarro decide to help them and go into the station, where Rain displays some ingenuity by removing a module from a damaged android on the ground so she can insert it into Andy, hoping that it will give him the necessary clearance to open the door. As Rain hands Tyler the module through a small opening, the room continues to heat up, causing the frozen facehuggers to thaw and start swimming through the water on the floor. One of them then jumps at Bjorn, but he displays strong reflexes and knocks it away before repeating his success when another one tries to attack him. With the module now fully functional, Andy finally opens the door and the trio run out of the room, only for a horde of facehuggers to chase them, with one of them making it through and landing on Navarro just before they close the door behind them. As the others try to figure out how to help the now face-hugged Navarro, Andy's new module reveals its effects and he starts speaking like he's auditioning for a part on Downton Abbey.
I surmise is feeding her oxygen to keep her alive. For what purpose, I do not know.
Refusing to have any relation to a British man, Rain tries to remove the module, only for Andy to stop her, telling her that the module is fixing him. Hoping to learn how to save Navarro, Andy showcases some ingenuity and resourcefulness by rebooting the damaged android so he can tell them about the facehugger. Unfortunately though, even Andy can't understand what he's saying.
The parasite hood is implanting the plagiaris prepotens in her.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, what? The fake-ass looking android then explains that the xenomorph they found 170 days ago destroyed much of the station before ultimately dying, and that if they don't want to face a similar threat themselves, they should either run or kill Navarro before a xenomorph bursts out of her. None of the crew though want to go along with his advice, so Rain also displays some strong ingenuity and resourcefulness when she suggests that they freeze the facehugger's tail to get it to let go of Navarro. Nice. After Rain's plan succeeds, Andy tries to stop Navarro from getting back onto their ship, believing the xenomorph threat to be too dangerous. Showing some protectiveness, Bjorn makes use of a stun baton to fry Andy's system like some oiled up potatoes before running away with Navarro. After Rain reboots him, Andy chases after the departing duo, but fails to reach them before they make it back to the ship and close the door, so he just stands in the airlock with unparalleled levels of aura. Why does he need to look so cool? Upon separating the ship from the station, Navarro begins experiencing chest pains, and realizing her time might be coming to a close, decides to show at least one positive quality, revealing solid resourcefulness by using a scanner to see inside her abdomen. Navarro then starts convulsing, causing her to lose control of the ship before her chest finally opens up and shares a secret so dark that Kay can't help but scream. Sending the postpartum pilot with a parasitic progeny to see to. After the ship crashes into the other side of the station, Andy, Rain, and Tyler begin moving towards them, but unfortunately discover a room filled with facehuggers blocking their path. Upon learning that facehuggers sense heat to find a host, Rain displays some more ingenuity when she suggests that they raise the temperature of the room to match their bodies so the facehuggers can't detect them. Good job. Once the room heats up, the trio walk inside, with both Tyler and Rain demonstrating strong composure as they don't alert the facehuggers by making any sounds or unintentionally raising their body temperature through stress, which would reveal their position. Rain does, however, show some skittishness when she jumps upon seeing a dead body, only for Tyler to show the opposite as he stops her from making more noise. Meanwhile, Kay wakes up and walks to the ship, where she stumbles into Bjorn, who, after some uncomfortably intimate eye contact for a pair of cousins, notices a slimy vaginal pod with a xenomorph gestating inside of it. That would get me demonetized. If I was monetized. Bjorn then grabs the stun baton and starts attacking the alien, but it knocks him to the floor when it hits him back, ultimately revealing Bjorn's poor urgency when he just lies there while the xenomorph's acid blood drips onto his body until he dies. What are you doing? Move! Let's talk about Bjorn. Bjorn is an asshole. Nearly everything he says revolves around his disdain for Andy, which stems from his hatred for androids for one's apparently heartless decision to let his mom die in order to save a greater number of people. Not only does Bjorn reveal vindictiveness through his interactions with Andy though, he also reveals a lack of maturity and a quick temper, repeatedly unable to act rationally when around someone he despises. He does unfortunately have some positive traits too, demonstrating impressive reflexes by fending off some facehuggers, as well as showcasing some opportunism and caution when he decides to attack the molting xenomorph in its seemingly vulnerable state. Fortunately though, his extremely poor adjustment soon afterwards, where he failed to move as acid dripped onto his body, significantly lowers his sense of urgency and drops him even lower on the scale, leaving the cold-hearted cousin with a questionable connection in C tier. With the gestation nearly finished, the xenomorph begins emerging from the pod, so Kay hurries to the docking door and calls Tyler to learn how to open it, after which she grabs the key from the ground and makes her way onto the station, but shows poor composure and awareness when she falls off a platform. Damn! She's still alive though. As Tyler listens to his sister's panic and subsequent tumble, he begins sweating, which alerts the surrounding facehuggers and forces the trio to run, with Tyler displaying some good resourcefulness and ingenuity as he throws a flare to distract the chasing facehuggers. He then showcases good speed and stamina as he manages to make it into the next room despite Andy beginning to close the door before he gets inside. Hey, you almost closed the door on him.
Yes, but I didn't.
True. Meanwhile, Kay finds herself in close proximity to the now fully grown xenomorph, but shows pretty strong composure by staying nearly silent as the alien walks across the grates above her. After it leaves with Bjorn and Navarro's bodies, Kay sneaks away to a nearby door, only to find it locked. Luckily for her though, Tyler pops up on the other side and tells Andy to open the door, but Andy notices the xenomorph standing like Batman when he sees someone jaywalking, just waiting to pounce. So Andy displays ruthlessness as he disregards Tyler begging him to help his sister and decides not to remove the only thing keeping the alien away from them, even if that means leaving Kay to suffer instead. Which she does. Tired of waiting, the xenomorph then pulls Kay away, giving Rain the opportunity to reveal some vindictiveness as she charges up and slaps that confused android-ass face Andy's got. I mean, I get that it's a tough thing, but I know they're not acting like he's wrong. That xenomorph would have destroyed them. On their way to the next location, Rain again confronts Andy about his decision, this time with words instead of hands.
How could you do that?
But Andy reveals his pettiness when he reminds her that she planned to leave him behind too.
What? Leave someone behind?
He got you there. And she knows it. The trio then arrive at a laboratory, where Andy follows the mission given to him by the new module and takes a strange compound that can alter the DNA of humans to allow them to survive the various dangers associated with the colonization of space. As Andy prepares to leave the room though, Rain demonstrates very strong observational skill when she spots the xenomorph hiding in the shadows on the camera, the alien still hunting them down.
Fucking thing's hunting us.
Changing plans, Andy then finds some guns and Tyler reveals his weapons knowledge as he teaches Rain how to use one. Andy though tells them that they can't actually shoot the xenomorph because they're on the bottom of the station and its blood will easily eat through it and cause decompression.
So what's the point in giving us the guns?
Because the creature may see it as a threat. And maybe won't charge us dead on.
Maybe.
Big maybe.
The group then begin heading through the conveyor belt to get back to the ship, but stumble into a massive xenomorph hive. As they start looking for another way, Tyler hears Kay crying faintly in the distance and reveals his recklessness as he runs into the hive to find her. Luckily though, they don't encounter any xenomorphs, but still find Kay having lost a lot of blood and losing more, so Andy offers her a vial of the compound from the lab, and while Tyler's desperation has him willing to try it, Rain's caution gets her to stop him and tells him to instead bring her to a cryopod so they can treat her back at the colony. As Tyler opens the elevator though, he displays observational skill when he spots a xenomorph sneaking up on Rain, so Tyler runs towards her, arriving just in time for the xenomorph to stab through his chest, pull him higher into the hive, and then kiss him a bit too hard. Damn, I like Tyler. Let's talk about him. Tyler performs very well before his untimely demise, specifically through his strong leadership, having control of the mission from the beginning and maintaining it throughout the film, with the only living person revealing any issues with his leadership being his dumbass and reactionary cousin Bjorn, who, as we've already discussed, has his own issues. Additionally, Tyler demonstrates an assortment of other positive qualities, including adaptability, composure, and resolve, that not only help supplement his already strong leadership, but can also stand on their own, likely giving him good results in both large and small horror movie casts. He does, however, have a susceptibility to impulsiveness, particularly with regards to his family, seen when he begs Andy to open the door for Kay despite the near certainty that doing so would lead to hers and everyone else's deaths, as well as when he runs into the xenomorph hive after hearing Kay whimper. Overall though, Tyler has one of the franchise's more impressive performances, especially for a side character, leaving the brave brother who battles for his blood in A tier. With Andy having been knocked into a state of paralysis, Rain leaves him behind as she takes Kay into the elevator that leads back to the ship. Rain though sees Andy on the camera still lying on the floor, and after a bit of reflection, decides to show some compassion by going back to save him. Yay! Now alone, Kay shows relatively high self-preservation but lower caution as she injects herself with the compound to hopefully heal herself of the injury she suffered. Well, that's definitely not going to lead to anything later. Once Rain reaches Andy, she displays her negotiation skills as she manages to convince him to let her replace the new module with the old one so he'll stop acting so cold like he has been. Unfortunately though, despite successfully fixing and then changing Andy back to his old self, they still have to contend with a swarm of xenomorphs who have begun approaching them, with the threat of Rain's gun losing effectiveness with each passing moment. However, in her desperation, Rain displays some extremely impressive ingenuity as she turns off the gravity generator so that when she shoots the xenomorphs, their acid blood won't fall through the floor and cause instant decompression. And she starts tearing through these aliens. As she fires hundreds of rounds, the xenomorphs eventually start to back away, leaving Rain and Andy with the extremely challenging objective of navigating through the now acid-laced air without turning into Freddy Krueger. Unfortunately though, no! Rain ends up floating directly towards a splatter of acid, but once again demonstrates incredible ingenuity and resourcefulness by firing the gun to change her direction, having no other way to do so. Yeah! With the gravity still disabled, Andy and Rain go into the elevator shaft, but when Rain closes the gate behind her, a xenomorph grabs her leg, causing her to shoot it and begin floating uncontrollably into the air. Before Andy can catch her though, the gravity turns back on and sends Rain plummeting to her death. Only for one of the luckiest horror movie moments ever to occur as a xenomorph catches her and then does its weird growl, allowing Rain to grab onto the ladder and avoid the elevator that drops down and kills the xenomorph. That plot armor is crazy. And it gets even crazier when another xenomorph emerges from the shadows and slowly approaches Rain, only for Andy to drop down from above, grab Rain's gun from a crevice in the wall, and shoot the xenomorph before uttering the nastiest bit of fan service ever conceived.
Get away from her.
You bitch.
Andy and Rain then meet up with Kay on the ship and place her in a cryopod. Rain then again demonstrates her compassion when she tells Andy that she will bring him with her to Yavaga despite the planet's policies on androids. Interrupting the sibling moment, Kay's cryopod alarm goes off, and when Rain goes to check it out, she discovers Kay's pregnancy having rapidly accelerated, with her now giving birth to some nasty-ass egg thing. Rain then displays strong resolve by tearing off the umbilical cord and then carrying the egg away, only to drop it when its acid begins eating through the blanket. Rain then prepares to freeze it with a cryo gun, but hesitates when the egg peels back and reveals a humanoid face. The egg then melts the floor and falls onto the level below, but when Rain reaches it, instead of seeing the baby, she only sees strangely shaped footprints that seem to grow with each step. On the upper level, Andy finds Kay oozing black goo from her boobs, which attracts Kay's rapidly growing alien baby, who rises like a 40-year-old after bending over to tie their shoes, and then slashes Andy's neck before getting some warm chocolate milk from Mommy. Yeah, I think she's dead. Let's talk about Kay. Kay doesn't demonstrate much versatility, instead having some especially powerful displays of a few attributes. Her noteworthy composure when mere inches away from the xenomorph bodes well for her chances in other monster movies, but her extreme lack of awareness just a few moments prior hurts her about as much. She does, however, showcase some strong resolve and self-preservation, staying alive after the xenomorph takes her to the hive and then injecting herself with a foreign substance because she thought only it could keep her from dying. Andy did tell her that it worked on a rat, so I can understand why she did it. All in all, Kay didn't have a particularly memorable performance, but that also includes her negatives, with everything she did largely balancing out with regards to her chances of surviving other horror movies, leaving the mutated mother with moldy milk in C tier. As the alien drinks from Kay's body, Rain finally runs in, only to run out when the alien knocks away her gun, which continues to cool the air even after leaving Rain's hands, forcing Rain to display her resolve as she slowly walks away and manages to put on a spacesuit despite still feeling the effects of the freezing air. She then goes back down to the lower level and reveals both her preparation and adaptability as she quickly learns how to release the ship's cargo and devises a plan to use that process to defeat the alien. Unfortunately though, the alien knocks her down before she can release the cargo, so Rain yet again demonstrates her resourcefulness as she knocks over the alien's acid-filled egg to melt a hole in the cargo bed, which causes decompression and pulls her and the alien outside. Rain, however, had already tethered herself to the inside of the ship so she wouldn't go flying into space, allowing her to climb back in without... After the alien starts grabbing her again, Rain pulls on her rope, which had been connected to the lever that releases the cargo bed, finally ejecting both it and the alien into space. Hooray! After setting a course for Yavaga, Rain puts Andy into a cryopod and does the same to herself, uncertain of the future. Well, time to rank. First off, much like a meteorologist, we have Rain. Despite having no experience in space, unlike all of the previous victims, Rain manages to perform extremely well on a spaceship, demonstrating a wide array of attributes, with nearly all of them positive. Her ingenuity and resourcefulness especially stand out, as she repeatedly comes up with solutions to a variety of problems. I mean, she came up with freezing the facehugger's tail to release Navarro from its grip, heating up a room to become invisible to the facehuggers, and turning off the gravity generator to delay the effects of the alien acid. She's the queen of ingenuity. Similar to Tyler, but even more so, Rain displays a lot of versatility, repeatedly showcasing strong caution, as well as resolve and even negotiation. She's not perfect though, displaying some skittishness when she sees a dead body while walking past the facehuggers. She also wanted Andy to open the door for Kay despite a xenomorph being just a few feet away, revealing a willingness to risk her own life to help other people in danger, even in seemingly hopeless situations. Overall though, Rain's strong ingenuity, paired with a wide array of various other positive attributes, drastically outweighs the few negatives she has, giving her one of Survivor Scale's most impressive performances and leaving the clever colonist with commendable characteristics in S tier. Finally, we have Andy, an especially tricky character to rank since his viability as a survivor fluctuates based on his module. Whereas the old one left him more personable and endearing, at least to most of the crew, The new one gives him a much colder demeanor, but leaves him far more concerned with his own well-being, even willing to sacrifice the lives of others. His original version doesn't offer as much overall competence, but he does still have some impressive moments, most notably when he manages to kill the facehugger in Xenomorph to save Rain before unfortunately revealing his cringiness with some unnecessary nostalgia.
You bitch.
Like, we did not need to hear that. The new module, of course, gives him a higher ceiling, allowing him to lead Tyler and Rain, deduce the conditions of unfamiliar situations, and make morally questionable choices that most humans would struggle with, while not becoming a total killer psychopath like David. I mean, he may not have been particularly nice, but he wasn't actively killing anyone. That's gotta count for something. Overall, Andy's two halves combine to create an extremely competent survivor, who, even with a curve for being an android, still ends up as one of Survivor Scale's top tiers, leaving the antiquated android with ambiguous actions in S tier.
I prefer the term artificial person myself.
But that's it. The average ranking for this cast was B tier. Pretty solid collection of characters, with the ultimate survivor going to Rain for her unparalleled ingenuity and versatility, and the first kill going to Bjorn for his terrible urgency and general assholery. Thanks for watching.